everyone, welcome once again to Klavertje Vier Kitchen with Chef Vivian. Today I'm going to show you just two simple things or sauce to make using eggs and simple ingredients you can find around you. I thought it would be just amazing after my service to just dive in and show you some of the things we use here in our kitchen, and especially so easy basic recipe like this French classic sauce. So today I'm going to make a simple just basic mayonnaise, and later I'll be showing you how to make mayonnaise. Is a cold sauce that is also very delicious with fish meal, meat meal, chicken, and a lot more. But we are also going to make a warm sauce using steel eggs and fat, which is butter. So, so let me just kick into it directly and get started. So we are going to start by using breaking our eggs into this ball of jug, this plastic jug. It is easy to make a mayonnaise using a plastic jug like this, because I'm not going to whisk it with my hand, with a manual whisk like this, because it takes long or forever to do this using the whisk. So we have a modern method now of making mayonnaise, which is with a staff mixer, just mixing it from under in a circular movement to on top of the oil, and bring it together to emulsifying all the ingredients into mayonnaise. So we are not going to use the whisk, as I said, so I'm going to set the whisk aside. So we are going to use a staff mixer, that is a hand mixer from under to above. So let me show you how we do it step by step. So sometimes simple things that are really made complicated. So we keep it simple and not complicated. Simple ingredients you can find around you every day in the comfort of your own home. So I'm using a whole eggs for my mayonnaise. I know sometimes there's a lot of recipe also with egg yolks alone, um, not with the egg white. But I find it when you use it egg white, you give it more full body and thickness to your mayonnaise. So it depends on what you want. So, but I'm going to use the whole eggs for this recipe. So for this recipe, I'm just using here two whole eggs. I'm breaking the eggs, and also make sure when you are making mayonnaise, that your eggs should be very fresh, because it's going to be eaten, fresh. So it should not be an old eggs, or eggs that is longer than maybe 3 to 4 days. So this is a fresh egg. You always use fresh eggs for your mayonnaise. So I'm just breaking it into this plastic jug. As I said, it's simple here to make a mayonnaise, and you always get it right using this. So I'll also make sure that the plastic is not too wide from under, so that when you are mixing it and you are moving like this, sideways, the other way, and a little bit upper, then your mayonnaise has the opportunity to mix immediately. Because when it's too braid, it can begin to split. So that is why a plastic like this is easier. So I've the breaking the eggs in the jug or the plastic jug. So the next thing we are going to add to the eggs is mustard. That is mustard paste. So it depends on how you like your mayonnaise to taste. But normally the recipe for basic mayonnaise is like you are using a half a liter of an oil, you are using just one teaspoon of mustard. But I love mustard in my mayonnaise. I like it to taste more intense mustard, so I love it. So I'm going to add two tea leaf um, instead of one tea leaf. So now I have, now I should say that I have a whole full spoon of, I'm going to bring it a bigger spoon. So I'm using a whole tablespoon instead of a teaspoon. I'm using a whole tablespoon, to be clear, because I prefer it to have more taste of the mustard. Welcome everyone once again. Welcome to Klavertje Vier Kitchen, here with Chef Vivian. Today I'm just going to show you a basic recipe of this delicious French classic that we all love all over the world. Mayonnaise basic recipe you can eat with your fish, meats, and a lot of even vegetarians. I'm also going to show you how to make a warm sauce later, which is mousseline sauce, using also eggs and lemon and also butter. So I'll be right back. So next I have here with me the eggs, full eggs, that is whole eggs I broke into this plastic jar, and also the mustard. I used a whole tablespoon of mustard. Normally in most of the recipe you see online is 1 teaspoon of mustard, but I think I have made it a lot of time. 1 teaspoon, I find it not that, not that really vocal for me, so I prefer more, so I always make it with 1 tablespoon, one full tablespoon. So next is I'm going to add some salt. You can use any type of salt that you have in your kitchen. It doesn't really, you don't really need a particular salt, but I'm using here Himalaya salt, so I find it also delicious salt to use. So for this recipe I'm just using a quarter of a teaspoon. So salt are different also. It's always better that you test the salt to know if it's enough, and then maybe you can add a little bit of salt and still use your spatula to mix it again and retaste it. It's better that you have more less salt than too much salt. That is what I always start with a half of a of a teaspoon, sorry, a half of a teaspoon I always start with. So I add then to the mixture, that is the eggs and the mustard and then the salt. Then I'm going to add the next ingredient, which is the pepper. This is white pepper I'm adding. I'm using white pepper particularly because I don't want that spot, that black spot in my mayonnaise. It doesn't, I'm not really concerned that I have pepper in my mayonnaise, but that's, that gruff, that very big pepper, I don't want to have it in my mouth. So I will tight a little bit here the top of the grinder, or the grinder, and then when I grind the pepper, it will be then very, very fine and very smooth. then you will avoid, look at it, you will avoid then that too much black spot, that how will I call it, very big seed black spot in your mayonnaise. So I always tighten the top of the grinder, then grind. So make sure you add enough pepper to taste, because it's important also that it tastes good. It's not that it's too pepperish, but just enough. So I think this is enough. So I keep my pepper grinder aside. So, and then the next is also, I have here vinegar, just plain vinegar. So vinegar also balance the acidity, the balance between the mustard and the eggs and the oil. So it gives a balance of the acidity. But you can also use a lemon juice in place of a vinegar. If you don't have vinegar at home, I mean by that you can replace vinegar with lemon juice. So I'm going to use also a half of a teaspoon. So a half of a teaspoon is not too much, just a half of a teaspoon in the mixture. And then I'm going to add my oil. I'm using here a sunflower oil and also arachid. I'm adding a little bit. I use two oil, but I use mostly the sunflower oil because I find it also better. It's plain, it's not tasting like peanuts. But if you love peanut, you like peanut, there are a lot of people also who prefer using peanut oil to make the mayonnaise instead of the sunflower. What you can also do, if you are the type, if you like also olive oil, you can also, olive oil is very strong in taste, so you should be very used to it for you to love or like the mayonnaise made from olive oil. Otherwise, it is preferable that you maybe make it half half, olive oil and sunflower or olive oil or an arachid oil. So I'm adding here just a little bit of the arachid oil because I just want to balance it. I don't love totally entirely the taste of only the arachid oil. That is why I'm adding a bit of it. So, and then I'm going to add here my sunflower oil. So here I'm adding the sunflower oil. So remember, it's a half liter about recipe. So everything is in now. So what we will do now is to mix this and bring it into mayonnaise. So simple is that. That is all what you need to make a basic mayonnaise sauce at home. It's not complicated, it's not difficult. If you understand the principle or you know how it works, you can also, even from this mayonnaise, create other simple sauces like cocktail sauce, like I don't know, pita sauce, like sumera sauce, samurai sauce, which is adding more of how do you call it, of cayenne pepper and other pick or other hot ingredients, spicy like chili, to upgrade it to that. So you can create a lot of other sauces just using the basic mayonnaise. So let me put some of my ingredients aside so I can continue. So while my salt is still here, because I'll have to control and check if the taste is okay. If the taste is not okay, I'm going to then add a little bit of the sauce and adjust it. So I'm going to start first by mixing it and bringing it into the mayonnaise, which we call emulsifying. So this is a very tricky system of making mayonnaise. It's so simple but very tricky because even chefs make mistake of it. So it's not always that easy. So you have to put your machine not too high always, because if it's too high it can split. So it should be in between. So I have it now like the half. So it should be in between. So it is the aim that when you are mixing the mayonnaise, that you are mixing from under, and when you are coming up, you will always have a movement to move like this. You move it up, you move like this, you move it up, you move like this to the top of the mayonnaise. So we start now by mixing. So you mix like this. So when you get to the top now, you see it's emulsified. But now you can hold it. Not long, not too long, otherwise your mayonnaise will split. So you just go in. That is all. You don't need anything anymore. So when you finish, your mayonnaise should be able to hold firm like this in the mixer. On the mixer, you should be able to hold your mixer upward this way, and that your mayonnaise is holding on to the mixer. If it's not holding on, it has not emulsified correctly. So that is what we call splitting in mayonnaise. That is, the mayonnaise is splitting apart. So in another episode, if you want, you can leave a comment below. If you have a problem of always making mayonnaise and it's splitting, I can teach you or show you how to bring back the mayonnaise together even if it splits, so that you can know that even when the mayonnaise have a problem of splitting, that you made it and it split because of maybe temperature or something else, that you can still bring it together and emulsify the mayonnaise to what you now see. So it should be like this. So everything is being brought together. And at this point, you cannot mix the mayonnaise anymore. You have to stop mixing, because if you keep mixing, you can also mix it, because you will raise the temperature of the mayonnaise, and which can make the mayonnaise also to split again. So I'll be back. So I'm going to remove the mayonnaise using the palette here of the flat. So just clean it and remove it round. So you see the mayonnaise is sticking to the mixer. That is how it should look like. So I'm going to remove it so that I can be closer to the mixer. So I've cleaned it. You see it's sticking and it's tightened. You see it's thick. It's not watering, it's holding. So that is how it should be. So I'm going to put it here aside. So now you are using here your palette, or I don't know know what you call it, your spatula. So you go down with your spatula and bring it upward to mix or bring everything together. So after bringing it now together, I'm going to test to know if I still need pepper, salt or anything, but I am sure it should be just good. It's just okay. So my salt, my measurement is correct. My salt, my pepper, my vinegar to balance, and everything is correct. So I just made simple, delicious, classic mayonnaise that you can use as basic sauce for creating other sauces, and even for just eating with your fish meal, meat meal, even vegetarian meal. So that is one easy recipe. I can show you how thick the mayonnaise look like. Look at that. And you see the color of the mayonnaise, very beautiful. So look at that. So it should hold like that. It's smooth, is, you know, it's light, is cream, is full in the mouth. It's really delicious. So you don't need much, you don't need to do much about this recipe. If you get it right, I think you will never buy any more mayonnaise from the shop or from the grocery shop. You will always make one at home. It is so easy. It's what you can make with everything that you have around you in your house. So let me speak about something, what can happen and go wrong when you make mayonnaise. So just taking it back to my pot. So like this mayonnaise now, you can use it for 3 to 4 days. Even you can keep it to 7 days in your refrigerator at a temperature of at almost 4 degrees, not higher or not lower, because mayonnaise does not want too much cold temperature, and it doesn't want also too much warm temperature. So it should be fine for around 4 or 5 degrees, I mean Celsius. So I'm going to put it aside. Yes. So we are going to continue. The second sauce I'm going to make is a mousseline sauce. I find this sauce so delicious and so easy to make, but yet so underestimated, because it can go wrong in a lot of ways. So let me speak first about what the problem you can face when making mayonnaise. You should always make sure that every ingredient you are using for the mayonnaise, like the eggs and the mustard and the oil, should always be room temperature, should always be at the same temperature. Because if one ingredient is colder than the other, like for instance, if you are bringing out your mustard from the refrigerator and or your eggs from the refrigerator, and you're adding it into the jug, and then you're adding your oil and all your ingredients, and you start mixing, it will certainly split, because the temperature is not right. So the temperature of making mayonnaise should be certainly at room temperature. And when you have all your ingredients mixed together and they are all in the same temperature, which is at room temperature, you have certainly at least 80% chance of your mayonnaise resulting as having a good result. But if you have all your ingredients are not in this at the same temperature, you have the chance that your mayonnaise certainly is going to split. So, and the 20% chance is also depending on how the mayonnaise is mixed with a machine, a hand mixer, or you are using a whisk for this. So I don't use a whisk anymore because it takes a lot of time to whisk mayonnaise. For you to have a ball of mayonnaise, you have to use a lot of strength for that. So I have a lot of work here in the kitchen, so I think it's enough work already. So I don't want to whisk mayonnaise using a whisk, so I use a hand mixer for that. It takes 2 minutes and or less to make a delicious mayonnaise. So I hope I made my points there. But if you have more question or you have any question, make sure to leave it in the comment below so I can always answer your question here. So meanwhile, let's continue with the next lesson. So the next is I'm going to start by melting the butter. So I'm using the butter. I'm going to make just a basic um, mousseline sauce. So what is mousseline sauce? That is just a basic sauce. We call it how do you call it? Lemon sauce. So it's a basic like Hollandaise sauce with a little bit of lemon, and sometimes people add a little bit of creme fraiche, that is whipped cream, and you add just a little to it to give it a fuller mouth and the mixture between the lemon and the butter. So let me just continue so that I can show you how to make it. So make sure you melt your butter in a really low temperature because you don't want the butter to burn. So you want the butter to melt slowly so that the color stays. So we call this clarifying. You have to clarify the butter. You have to let it melt gradually so it starts melting, and then the butter will be clarified, and we can then use it to make the mousseline. So I'm going to bring my saucepan. So for the mousseline sauce, we don't use the whole eggs. So that is why I find it so intriguing that this sauce to combine to make. So I made the other one with whole eggs, and I show you that mousseline sauce you cannot make with whole egg because you have to warm the egg to about 80 degrees Celsius. And when the egg gets to 80 degrees Celsius, if there is egg white inside the egg yolk, there will be a scramble. That's what we call egg scrambled eggs. So for you to prevent that scrambling in the eggs, you have to split the eggs. That is why you don't always need to use a whole egg when you are making emulsifying sauce like Mayonnaise Mousseline and so on. And Sharon sauce also is just a basic also sauce from Hollandaise and Mousseline sauce. So let's get started. So I'm going to start now by splitting the eggs. So welcome everyone once again. Thank you for joining us for another live episode. Today we are showing basic sauce here from our little kitchen of Kiona in the province of West Flanders in our little country of Belgium. We are showing you our little tricks here, what we do in our kitchen daily. We run a small restaurant where we serve people with love and make everything from scratch. So our aim here is also to share our love our passion and our knowledge with you guys. Hope you are all doing great, and thank you once again for joining us. So here I have my sauce pan, and I'm going to split my eggs as I said. So let me put away. So I'm going to split the eggs because you don't need the whole eggs. So, and the egg whites, I can also use the egg whites in creating other recipe, even making merengue. So please don't throw it away. You can use it in your kitchen for other things, for other purpose. So for making an emulsifying sauce, like Mousseline, Hollandaise, or so, there's a basic recipe that you always have to follow. I will explain after splitting the eggs, so you understand, because there's a basic recipe that you should follow, and if you follow it, you will have no problem with the sauce. But when you don't follow this, you will always have a problem with the sauce. So I split it. So I have here 4 eggs. I'm going to clean my hands and then I'll be back. So you see the fat or the butter is clarifying. The butter is clarifying in a low heat. That is what you want. You don't want it to be too warm, because if it's too warm, it can start burning and you can start seeing black spots there going to burn your zet, and that is not what you are looking for when you are doing or when you are preparing a emulsifying sauce like Hollandaise, Mousseline, and even a mayonnaise. So for this also, I also always use cayenne pepper in my emulsifying sauce. Why? I find this very very good. Why? Because if you use black peppers, you will always see the spots of black pepper in your sauce, and I don't want it. I like the sauce to be plain and without all those black eyes showing in the sauce. So that is why I prefer using cayenne pepper. And cayenne pepper, I find it very punchy, and punchy and still really fine. So I'm going to add a pinch of cayenne pepper, like what you see. So a tea leaf, a quarter of a let me say a quarter of a tea leaf. So a really small, because don't forget cayenne pepper is a really punch. So it's a real cayenne pepper, so it's a punch. So I'm going to add again. And now I'm not going to use the Himalayan salt anymore. I'm going to use just a white sea salt, so that I still keep a little bit of that color. So the more color you add to your eggs, the more that you change the color of your eggs, because the eggs is yellow. So I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Remember, you can always test and still add salt. So one principle, it is better that there's less salt than too much salt. You can always adjust taste or flavor after making, and then if it's not okay, you can always add more salt. So that is my principle of working. So I'm going now I need lemon juice. So I'm going to squeeze my lemon juice. I have a small jug to be able to remove the lemon juice. must have lemon. Maybe it will be okay. I will see. So it depends also how much punch of lemon you want in your sauce. But for me, I think with just a whole teaspoon like this of lemon, I have enough, because you don't want it to be too lemon. So no, this is too big. Look, a tablespoon like this. So you add 1 full tablespoon of lemon, because you don't want it to be too lemon. You want also lemon, but not too much. So maybe I add just a little again, but not too much. So 1.5. So now I added 1.5 tablespoon of lemon juice. Then I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of water. So I'm going then to mix everything together like this. So we are ready to start. You see that the butter is melting, is clarifying. So I can now skip the butter, clean the butter a bit to use it. So I will remove the white layer there of the butter, the milk from the butter that is plain, so that I can use it there for so I'm removing it just by using a small sauce spoon and just removing the top. You see, that is just the milk from the butter that you have to remove. This we call clarifying butter. You are clarifying the butter. So you see, when you remove this from the butter, and you can store the butter there even long without any problem. So it is this that you always find out that people are allergic to. Mostly people who are allergic to lactose is from the milk in the butter that you are allergic to. So if you even remove this fat, normally you can even eat butter even if you are allergic to butter. So that is why it's sometimes nice that you remove it, so it's cleaner. So of course, you know, you cannot remove everything. So now it's almost clean. So and since I'm using my spoon to remove the fat, because later I will be removing the fat like this, you see, that is plain butter. You can remove it until when you get to the end, then you see the fat is still here, that so that will not come inside the mousseline. So it is already almost clear. So I'm just going to remove just a bit again, and then we can start. So welcome everyone once again to another live streaming here with Chef Vivian. I'm going to start now with the whisking of the mousseline sauce. So and then I'm going to set my the butter aside here so that I can start whisking the sauce. So the butter is clarified now. So I'm going to start whisking. So to start whisking the sauce, I'm not there are different methods of making emulsifying sauce like this. So there are different methods of making this sauce. So you can either make it obe marie. Obe marie means that you are placing your pan or your bowl over a warm water and whisking it until it arrive 80 degrees Celsius before you start adding your butter. Or here, I never use bain marie when I'm making a sauce or emulsifying sauce like hollandaise or so, maybe because I've been making it for years, so I know how to use just my fireplace or my stove to make this. But I will advise you, you can always learn by doing. So try this method at home. You will find out that it's not so difficult as you think. So it is only one thing that you should know is that you should not start on a high heat. It has to always be on a low heat to about medium heat. So that is why should you start in a low heat? Then your pan is not getting too warm and turning your eggs into omelette or scrambled eggs. So I also have the opportunity to whisk and bring a lot of air, more air to your sauce before your sauce is warm enough. So that is why it is better that you use a very low heat and you keep going up if necessary. But I will show you that it's not even necessary and that you don't even need a bain marie to make your sauce if you can do it very well and follow up very well. So I'm going to start my stove, and then I'm going to bring it to, I will start at 400. So how do you make, you will be whisking it on an X, you see, on an X motion. So when you are whisking the sauce like this on an X motion, you are incorporating air into the sauce, which is, we call it emulsifying. So you are emulsifying the sauce, you are bringing more air bubbles into the sauce, which begin the light, which make the sauce lighter. So you just keep whisking and you whisk so like X, and then you go round. So when you whisk like this, you don't even need a bain marie. You can even do it on your stove, but make sure the stove is placed on a low heat, to a really medium low heat. So you keep stirring it. When you do it this way, you will never need a bain marie again in your life to make one. So you see that there is air bubbles, creating air bubbles. So it makes the sauce thicker. So and make sure you warm up the sauce until 80 degrees, about 80 degrees and a little more, but not more than 83 degrees. Otherwise it will be too warm. So you see it's getting warmer. You see, you can see it. You can see that the sauce is coming together, but you will continue whisking and make sure you are whisking so like an X motion, and then you are going round once. So you mix so like an X motion. If you feel that it's too warm, you take up your pan a bit. So you whisk a bit, you see it's getting thicker. So you place it again, you see that it's already getting thicker even without omeletting, but you see that it's just getting thicker. It's already emulsified. So you keep stirring but make sure it gets to enough. You see, it's almost like forming a thick paste like the mayonnaise we just made. So you keep whisking like this, and you continue and you give it a little bit of whisk again, and it's ready. So now you see your sauce should look like this. It should look like, you see the bottom is not omelette and there is nothing under your sauce. So that is how it should look like. You see, you don't need a bain-marie to do this. Look, you see your sauce is not crumbled egg. It is really mousseline, so hollandaise now, so as it should be. So we are going to switch off the stove, and I'm going to put the stove aside so that we can have a little bit of space here. So the next, now you see we have this now, so it is from this point that you will start adding your butter. Please don't add your butter before now, because that is the main reason why some people make hollandaise sauce or mousseline sauce and it splits, because either the butter is too cold or the sauce is not warm enough before you start adding your butter. So also, now let me speak about the basic recipe here. For this recipe, you always need 1 egg to 150 grams of butter. So for you to make a mousseline sauce like what I made here from 4 eggs, I'm using here 200 grams of butter for that. So then you have also the other ingredients like the pepper and the salt to taste. So let me start incorporating the butter into the, you see, there's already clean. You see, it's already okay to mix. So this is also very important, because you are using emulsion for mixing. So you're not going to pour all the butter immediately into the sauce, because it will skift. So it will split. So you are going to be dropping the butter. You see, like you are going to be adding the butter. Let me put it flatter so that let me put flat so that it will be stable. So you are going to be adding the butter gradually. So that is how you do it. So you see, immediately you add it, you whisk it before you continue again. Otherwise it will split. So if you know how to do it, and if your what you are using, the surface you are using should be also be stable, because if it's not stable, you see what it's doing is turning like it's going round and round, because my surface is not stable. So let me bring a wet substance, because it's important that you have a stable place. Yes. So you keep mixing. You keep mixing, you see it, you keep mixing. Now you are going to the end of your oil. You have to be careful of the, you see, you have to be careful of the milk there. So when it comes, sometimes a little bit is not a problem, but when it's too much, it can split also your sauce. So if it's a little, it's not a problem. So I'm going to take it out a bit and see. Okay. And you keep whisking. You know, when you are whisking it's not just, it's a motion you are doing. Like you are doing an X motion like this, and then you are bringing everything together. So you see the sauce is well mixed now and beautiful. So it's thick. So it will not be a problem even if you add a bit of that. It will not be a problem. So it should not be too much, but a little bit is not bad. So now I'm going to test to know if it's okay. It's so delicious. The salt is okay, the pepper is okay, everything is okay. So look how delicious it looks already. So you can serve this with your fish, any kind of fish or vegetable, pickled vegetables or asparagus. You see, so delicious. So let me then, what we have now, normally what we have now is Hollandaise sauce. That is what you see now. That is the basic of the mousseline sauce, which is Hollandaise sauce. So now I have here with me some heavy cream. So we are going to mix a little bit of heavy cream to give it that soft balanced touch. So you are whipping the heavy cream to a peak. It should not be too thick and it should not be too light. So it's to a peak. You are whipping. So that is how it should be. You see, it's a peak. It's just to a peak. It's still a little bit flowing, but not flowing. So I'm going to then add, just look, 1 spoon should be enough to the sauce. So that is mousseline sauce for you. So that is the classic mousseline sauce. You can serve this with your fish meal, and that taste of that heat of it's so delicious. It's so balanced, it's so mouthful, it's so really delicious. The balance and the acidity of the lemon juice and the kick from the cayenne pepper there, and the fullness of the eggs and the butter is so delicious. I bet you it's really delicious. Look how creamy and look how delicious it looks when you serve this with your fish meal, or even with scampis, or with even vegetarian meals, pickle meals. It will be so amazing. In fact, try this in the comfort of your own home and let me know, because sometimes it's not so difficult as you think. Basic recipe made easy in a few steps, And when you master it, you can make other recipes using just this basic recipe. So don't forget, like you can also make mayonnaise sauce by, if you can make hollandaise sauce, you can also make mousseline sauce, you can also make sharon sauce, you can also make a lot more sauce, just inspirational sauce. You can change just one basic sauce to a lot of other sauce. So that is what I wanted to teach you guys today, or show you guys today. So I wanted to share these little tricks from our little kitchen here in Kuno, Chef Vivian. I just want to thank you all guys for tuning on once again to this live episode, because it is our love and our passion that we want to share with you guys. And let me know in the comment if there is a question, something that you would like to ask about. I will get back to you. I will reply. I will always respond to each and every one of you if there is one question, of course. So today I will also be making other videos or showing other live how to use this sauce. So I just wanted to start with the basics so that you can see what we can you can see how this sauce is made from basic, and then there will be a follow-up of what we can use this sauce to serve. So if you are interested, always keep tuned, check out our channel so that you know when the next video is coming up. Or if you want any video, if you want a specific video, can also request it, what you want me to make video about. I can also show you what fish dishes that you can make to serve this delicious sauce that I made today. So don't also forget to check out our channel, check out our other videos, what we have done in our channel. We have a lot of videos there where you can be inspired from. We have a lot of appetizers, we have dessert, we have starter meals, we have main courses, we have modern techniques and cooking hacks. So you just check out our channel for cooking inspiration and modern technique. So thank you everyone for joining us today from our little country here of Belgium. We are signing off, Chef Vivian. Ciao everyone. Mwah. Love you guys. Thank you for joining us, and bye for now. See you in the next episode. Ciao. Mwah. Bye everyone.